Greetings from Columbia, Maryland, where we are recording Razzle Dazzle Radio, a show presented to you by Howard Community College. I'm Carolyn Kellerman, here with my co-host Judy Templeton. And today we're going to give you lots of tips on how you can get a part in a play or musical. And we're getting these tips from two incredible performers, both who have lead roles at Toby's Dinner Theater. Judy, I'm anxious to meet these two.
I know, and I'm anxious to introduce them because they are quite the couple. So we are talking about MaryKate, who is presently on camera right now, Brouillet, and she has come from a showbiz family. You can see her right now any night. And I'm sorry to say, MaryKate, as a mean girl, but you're a great mean girl. So, hey,
mean girls. Meanest of all the mean girls.
That's right. Right. The big meanie. But she has played many roles at Toby's. So talk to us about you. So, all right. So talk to us about how you even have come through the ranks here to get to Toby's and get lead parts, which is no small task. Tell us about your past a little bit, please.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up kind of part of the Toby's family. I was a young Colombian. I met Toby when I was around 11, 12 years old. I did CCTA, I did the camps, and then I auditioned for Young Colombians. And so I was part of the Young Colombians from probably age 12 all the way through high school when I graduated high school, when I turned 18. And that really shaped me as a performer. And I learned so much under Toby Orenstein, and also had the opportunity to swing as a high schooler at Toby's Dinner Theater, which, if you know, swinging is a very difficult job. And yep. I think swings and understudies never get enough credit, but swinging as a high schooler was really a challenge, but it also taught me so much about performing and understudying and learning roles and learning the round, performing in the round at Toby's Dinner Theater, which is my favorite style of performing. I love it. And it really kind of just gave me the tools that I needed to go on and be a professional. And then I went away and went to school, and then came right back to Columbia and auditioned for Toby's again and started in Legally Blonde in 2012. And then I've kind of just been here ever since 2012. But yeah, I feel like those former years in high school as a young Colombian and as a swing that really helped shape me into the performer that I am today.
Oh, yeah. You either make that or you don't. Yeah. I think that is definitely drop you in the water training, and you better learn to swim or drown. That's for sure. So, yeah. So, Carolyn, I know you wanted to talk for a minute to her, too, about the whole skill of auditioning.
Right. Looking over the program notes, I mean, you've done everything from Elf, the sedate woman who cares for the elf character, to Glinda, the Wizard of Oz, to Morticia in the Addams Family.
It was great at that.
Fiona in Shrek, Louise in Kinky Boots, and then you've done other theaters besides Toby's. My question to you is, what quality do you think you had specifically for the meanest girl of the mean girls, Regina George?
Oh.
What did you bring to the audition? Did you audition or was you pre-cast?
Oh, I auditioned. Yeah, I definitely auditioned. I didn't really know what was to come of this or what to expect. I think initially thought that I would probably go in for the adult female role, the one that plays the teacher, Mrs. Norbury, and then Regina's mom and also Katie's mom. I wasn't really quite sure where I would fit into this show, if at all. And then I think the thing about Regina that kind of helped me in this case, is she is the queen bee. She is the meanest of the mean. She's the leader of the pack. And I think maybe, being a little bit older than some of the other girls in the cast ended up working in my favor, because I am sort of a natural leader in that way. You know, I'm not more experienced, but I think I was in high school before these other girls, and I was in high school when the movie came out. So I literally grew up with this story and with Regina George. And so I think it definitely worked in my favor that there was probably more of a maturity to me. That definitely worked in my favor, that I could sort of lead the pack in that way. And it's fun, you know, I think to understand playing a mean person, she's not all mean. She's misunderstood. And so I think you can't go into it being entirely mean, leading that way. You have to find the cracks and find the things that make her insecure, you know, her weaknesses, the things that people actually like about her, you know, why people actually want to be her friend in the first place. So there's really a lot to dig into with that, with the character. And I don't know, I just found it to be really fun. So yeah, I auditioned for it. I was called back, and then I read with Rachel, who plays Katie. And I think she and I have a nice dynamic, and we work well together. And Rachel's also very strong, and she's a strong individual. So I think it was a good match for us. You know, it probably works out.
For our listeners who really would like to audition or make it in showbiz, do you have any suggestions? I know you're a triple threat. Do you have to be a triple threat these days when you try out for a show? I mean,
you don't have to be. I mean, it certainly helps. It certainly, to be a triple threat, listen, always continue training, take voice lessons, take acting lessons, take dance lessons. The more skilled you can be as a performer, the more it will help you to be able to be booked as a dancer, a singer, or actor. I would say, yeah, never stop training. You know, there are Oscar winners that still take acting classes. So I would say never stop working on your skills. But for auditions, I think the most important thing is to go in prepared. If you're going in for a role, you know, read the script, know the entire story before you go in and get familiar with it. Ask questions too. Don't be afraid to go in and ask questions and get to know the scene, the character, what you're working on in the room. Do as much research as possible. And I would tell people and actors, like, read for fun, read plays for fun, you know, not just to prepare for an audition, but it helps shape you as an actor as long as you continuously are learning and getting to know the genre, like musical theater, plays, whatever. Just never stop educating yourself. And that's what I aim.
Great advice.
Yeah, read plays for fun.
Yep. Well, even before you just described, you had early training with your mom too, didn't you? Didn't she teach acting classes at Centennial?
Yeah, my mom is a music teacher in Howard County, an elementary school music teacher. And then she also ran an after school program at her elementary school. They did musicals. And she also was ended up being the music director for the Young Columbians as well. So she was a big part of my training.
Yes, it's in your DNA somewhere anyway, right? You were fated for this career. Well, shout out to her. And I know she's trained so many. Yep, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, let's hit you up, Patrick. Okay, so let's see. I was trying to think, when was the first time I saw you? And I think it was Rocky. I think that was the first time, and I was like, wow. He is a rock star. And of course, you, speaking of stars, so you've had a lot of starring roles since that role. Carolyn probably even has the list of some of your fabulous parts, but just like MaryKate, not too shabby. I mean, how much fun is it to play Rocky? And I mean, where do you go from there? Oh, okay, you go to Danny in Grease, of course. Just so many interesting roles, but I absolutely love that you even played kind of a munchkin role in Wizard of Oz. Who knew I was going to see you scoot around on that little scooter, but you did it well. Like MaryKate, you do come from a rather theatrical family. Some of your sisters that I've had the pleasure to meet, I'm going to shout out for Anne Marie, your sister, my dance teacher, extravaganza. And I also know your other sister, Cece, who's a gymnast and dancer. So I mean, was it fated for you to be performing because of your family? And how did you find your way into all this?
You know, it's funny. It was just my dad had insisted we take piano lessons when we were 5. Like that was the start of it. Yeah. No, I'm so thankful for him, even though some of it was, you know, just like a lot at the time.
Torturous sometimes. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that's the right word. Tormenting. But my dad also played guitar a lot and he just loved it. And with that, I think just like growing up with that all the time and then watching my brothers and sisters go do choir when we were in 4th grade. And, you know, my sisters were taking dance. My brother was doing band and orchestra. Just growing up around that, I couldn't wait to start singing. And then it was always a surprise because I always thought of myself as a sports guy. I'm going to play football. I'm going to do this. Like that was, and then middle school came around, and then my best friend, who, I mean, I don't want to turn this into a long story, but he had a heart transplant when he was 11.
Wow.
And he comes back for the 2nd semester of middle school, and he was like, "Dude, let's go audition for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory." I was like, "Are you serious, dude? Like what?" Like I thought it was a joke. And we go in, and because I was in the choir and did piano for so long, I was able to sing. And because I could sing, I got Grandpa Joe. It was the part that I wanted. And everybody who said, "Oh, you'd be a great Grandpa Joe," I was like, I want to play that role. So we did that in middle school. I don't know. It was always just like, it's like this weird relationship breakup story that just like kept happening. It was like theater just kept calling my name, and I kept like absolutely loving it every time. It was always like the right decision for me. And then after college, I even thought for a second, I was like, no, I'm probably, after graduating with the music and theater double major, I was like, probably not going to do this. But I started singing at church again because I graduated when COVID hit. So it was, you know, I'm like, I'm looking for a job. So church gave me a job. And then I asked Terry Eberhardt runs the church at St. Louis, where I grew up going. And I asked him, what do I got to do? And, you know, it was weddings and funerals. Then it was audition at Signature, audition at Only, audition at Toby's. And around that time, they were looking for Rocky Balboa to be in the Rocky the Musical. Now, I was just trying to get in any way I could, like if there was a swing or an ensemble, but they were looking for a Rocky. And I was like, look, I'm going to go for that part. But if I can get in, that's all I'd want, you know? I think Toby, you know, she doesn't just take anybody in. I don't think Toby as a director or a teacher. I think of her as a coach because, man, she's yelling at, but like, trust me, it was such a pleasure to have her as a teacher, even for that little bit before she retired. It was just such a pleasure to have her, and what I learned from her. And I was like, I would take it again in a heartbeat. She was just amazing and helped me shape the Rocky. And then that just made me want to continue to work there and fight for all those roles. I would say they were never give me role. It was, I had to fight for it. Like, you know, I had to lose my accent for roast. I had to find like different just ways to tell different stories. And when I did figure that out, it was so beautiful. It was hard, but I mean, it was just it's been such a beautiful ride. And it's like, I don't want it to stop, you know? So
I guess not. I like how you said after you got trained in Rocky, you had to fight for all your roles. So yeah, okay, small pun there. Yeah. But now I want to tell you that Carolyn and I, well, we see most of the plays there together, of course. And I was like, Carolyn, how in the world are they going to do Rocky in the round? I mean, when you mentioned the round, which is such a unique way anymore to stage a show, and for as long as they've done every epic show in the round, but it worked beautifully. And you were amazing. You were definitely the right guy for the role in that one. So I think that's where you made your first mark. So what came next after that?
Well, we did Ghosts, the musical. We were both in that, actually. I was Sam and she was Bolly. And that was a lot of fun, but it was just, that was a really cool story. Like it was another story of fighting for love in a different atmosphere. And like, it explores with the afterlife as well. Yeah. So that was cool. And, I think that was even a more challenge because it's something that you don't, obviously none of us have experienced, like a afterlife feeling or memory or anything, but just having to play with that was like tough for me at first. But then like figuring out the character and everything, I think it was a lot of fun. We also even got to take pottery lessons.
Okay.
We did that on stage, I think twice. Well, she did it. I was kind of like the helping hand, but.
No pun intended again. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Was that to encourage the Stanislavski technique of putting your hands in the clay?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. So just because it's such an intimate setting, the audience is so close to us, they can see everything. They definitely know if we weren't actually doing it, but it was fun. I made something every show.
That's so cool. I love that. So is that where you both first met?
Well, that was our first time playing opposite one another. I think that was our second show together.
Yeah, well, we were in Rocky together.
Yeah, but this was our first time working together.
So Carolyn's question then too. So help us out here. So what advice do you give for auditioning? Now I heard that you already had the degree, so you're already a triple threat, or you have a degree as such, as I understand it. So what's your advice?
My advice is honestly come in as yourself, be yourself, because half the battle is if you look the part. And and if they like you enough, they will work with you. And I think sometimes that's the best way. It's or whatever song to sing that you feel the best, you come in with that. And they want to see you do your best. They don't want to see you be nervous or timid or anything. They want to see the confident you that you can bring to the table. I heard some really good advice actually from, pretty sure he's Rob McClure. He's a Broadway guy. He came to a festival I went to in college. He said, don't get the part, get in the file.
Oh.
He said, get in the file. If you can make yourself useful in anything, just do it, because I don't know. I think sometimes the dream role is just being a part of a really great production.
Yep.
I think sometimes that's the dream role. And I would say that's probably my advice.
I think it's a great tip. Okay. So MaryKate, what has been one of your favorite roles?
Well, I know I'm currently doing it, but I think it's definitely up there. Unexpected. I was not expecting it to be one of my favorites, but it's really so much fun. I don't really get the opportunity to play the villain very often, but she's a fun, lovable villain. Morticia, as we mentioned before, also one of my favorite roles I've done. Louise and Gypsy as well. It's just such an iconic show. Getting to work with Kathy Mundy is always a pleasure.
So what's your coveted role? What's a coveted role that you haven't played, or maybe one you want to play again? I don't know.
I would love to I love Sondheim. I've done Into the Woods a couple times, as a student, and I would love to do it again as an adult. I played the baker's wife. I actually played the baker's wife at CCTA, but I would love to do that again professionally.
Yeah. Okay. That Howard Community College, I'll give a shout out to, just did a fabulous production of Into the Woods. If you could be two places at once, that would be at Toby's and there. So, okay, I'm coming at you now, Patrick. Coveted role.
I would love to do, I did this in CCTA, but I would love to do Les Mis. I think that really made me fall in love with theater, doing that in CCTA 2013. I only played the Bishop and Grandeur because I had the lowest voice of the cast, but I loved it. It was so much fun.
They were actually doing that at CCTA while we were doing it.
Oh, okay.
Theater.
Yeah. What's been your favorite role that you've played?
See, that's a hard one.
I know. I don't ask easy questions.
I'll have to give like a couple. Like, I think the first one will always stay close to my heart is Rocky.
I'd say.
It's a great story. It was my first show there. It's something about doing your first show. It's just such a magical experience. Totally in Margaritaville was very. Oh man, I
forgot about that one. Yeah,
dance steps. That's cool. But yeah, I really liked that one. I think Jersey Boys was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was just
yes,
fun cast. We did it with fun ensemble. The music is always makes you feel something.
But let's just talk about the other side. I mean, this is hard work. Talk about that piece.
Self-care is extremely important as well. And it's easy to get burnt out, especially doing 8 shows a week and then sometimes back-to-back shows, where you're working 4 to 6 months straight. So just finding that balance, taking time for yourself and also still doing the things that you love outside of the business, outside of musical theater. And I think that's also what helps shape you into a more well-rounded performer. It's like, you have to have life. You have to have life experiences too.
So we're just about out of time, but catch MaryKate. How long do we have to watch Mean Girls, MaryKate?
Until August 23rd.
Until August 23rd. And you can see Patrick right there greeting and meeting. And what could be better than that? Him leading you to your table with that great smile and personality. And then what's next? Are either of you in Donna Summers? Okay, tell us what you are.
Yes, I'll be playing. I'll be in the ensemble, but I'll also be playing Helmut Sommer. He is Donna Gaines' his first wife, who ends up becoming Donna Summer. So I think if you hear the similarity, she ends up taking his last name and ends up becoming Donna Summer. I think I was still trying to figure that out with the research, but I think that she, getting the name, I think they accidentally spelled her last name wrong. Instead of Sommer, I think they spelled it Summer.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she kind of just went with it. And I play the first German husband. Yes. So. Well,
you certainly had on the job training in Saturday Night Fever. So, I mean, come on, just bring it back, And what about you, MaryKate? Are you taking a break or are you in this next one as well?
I am taking a break. I'll be taking a break from Donna Summer, but then I will be returning for White Christmas. Actually, we both will be.
Both will. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yay. All right. Real quick, funny story about Donna Summers. So one of my former students married her daughter. So that was my closest contact with Donna Summers, and I thought that was a big deal.
Close.
I know. And so
she lived in Ellicott City for a while.
Yes, she did. That's right. And I will say that I did dance down the disco aisle back in the day. So I'm very excited to see this again. It'll be extremely nostalgic. I don't think we can mention Toby's without, as you have already done, given great gratitude to Toby for all that she's done for so many, and Mark Minnick, who is about 12 people in one. That's what I always ask him. Which one of his multiple personalities is he today? Is he the director, the choreographer, the producer, the ticket person, the marketing, or the greeter? And that's only a couple of his jobs. So we really thank you, Patrick, and you, MaryKate, because you're part of making Toby's that really special experience. You put the extra in extraordinary, So keep doing what you're both doing. And if you haven't been to Toby's, I can't believe it, but get there and get there quick. Thanks so much. Judy Templeton, Carolyn Kellerman on Razzle Dazzle.
That's it for this episode. We here at Dragon Podcast appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you like what you heard, there is a plethora of podcasts for you to discover from Dragon Podcasts. Just search Dragon Podcast on whatever platform you get your podcasts. Thank you, and see you next time.